Hello, and thanks for joining me for another episode of Screw the Cubicle TV. I'm Lydia Lee, the founder of Screw the Cubicle, and you are in the right place if you're looking to break free from the 9-to-5 life and create and build the courage that you need to create your path to freedom. So lately, I've been talking to my community and the people that follow my work online around the fears that have been sabotaging their plans to take the leap from their corporate jobs, from the lifestyle that doesn't serve them anymore. And part of the questions that I've been asking is really to also be helping me as I right now I'm writing a book around these common fears, common excuses that normal people have, even though they've been successful, they're talented people, but yet this sort of demonic demon, right? This fear demon in their brain is just really just bringing that wall up to not allow them to even take the first steps that may be necessary for them to start quitting their job or even finding a route that is meant for them. And part of this book that I'm writing is really not just even about my thoughts only. It is going to showcase a lot about my story and the fears that I have, which you'll be able to relate to, but also be telling how to bypass these fears through real stories of other people from all walks of life. So if your fear story is around family or around supporting your family or being a spouse and not wanting to disappoint other people in your life, you can relate to another story besides mine that talks a lot about that particular fear and how they trumped it and how you can apply it to your life. So the thing about fear is that it's always going to be a part of our lives. Fear is not necessarily always a bad thing in our lives. It prevents us from doing things like jumping in front of a truck and killing ourselves, in our day-to-day life. So there are fears that are very real and absolutely needed in our lives. But then there's all these other fears that are not justified. They're fears that have been created from our belief systems, created from things our parents have told us or society has told us. And this becomes very real to us because of the conditioning that we've had to experience in our day-to-day life. So dealing with fear isn't about ignoring the fear, because I find that when you ignore the fear, it tends to come back tenfold. And it comes in different forms when you don't deal with it. But it's about facing that fear and going, all right, we're here for the ride together in our lives. I'll obviously hear you again at some point in my life. How do we make this better for ourselves? How can I not let you, Mr. or Mrs. Fear, dictate the dreams that I have for my life? Right? It's learning how to negotiate with that part of you that has the fear. It's learning how to speak to that part of you that is really just trying to protect you, but you're trying to be an adult about this and going, hey, I'm in control of my life. I can hear you out, but let's work out a way for me to continue to do what I want to do and not kill ourselves and figure out that route of communicating to each other. So some of your fears may be things like fear of failure, sometimes fear of success, thinking what may change in your life if you were successful. Fear of judgment by other people. This is very common with people I work with, especially even in my own life, around what people think about your choices in life if you were to make a dramatic change, like quitting your job or moving abroad or whatever it is that has been your dream. And you have to understand that the fears that you currently have are constructed by beliefs that you have about yourself and the world, and perhaps you've been disappointed and let down before in your life, where we all have, and feel that the same can happen to you again. Or you've seen someone else feel that's close to you, and they may told you stories that if things feel difficult, it's not meant for you because they didn't get what they wanted either. And so with all these stories that have been fed into your brain in all the years you've been alive, it's now constructed this belief system that you now have that sends you this panic signals whenever you try to do something different, because it's told you the story that if this happens, then this outcome could be for you. But also to realize that these are exactly what they are. They are just stories. So your job to help overcome your own fears is to tell yourself a different story. Feeding new evidence is what I like to call it. So a great way, excuse me, recovering over a cough, a good way to actually, bypass your fear without, in a more kind of softer way and comforting way to yourself, is really playing a game with it. And I find playing detective, to feed new evidence to your brain is a much more kind of looser and more comfortable approach to fighting fear versus just get some courage and be brave about it. Easier said than done. So we are humans that like to see things, to see things that are real. Sometimes our belief systems require more evidence instead of just kind of thinking about a particular thought. So a way to find an evidence, for example, is, let's say if you're someone who may have a belief that someone like you who doesn't have a lot of money, who have never been given a lucky chance before, you've never done business before, whatever it is that you think is your setback, and that's making you feel that you aren't able to get successes that are outside of what you know. A way to feed evidence to that belief is to find someone who comes from a similar background, like you, someone who doesn't have a silver spoon in their mouth and have worked hard as you did, someone that's doing what you dream of doing and really studying what they've done, to get where they need to go. So studying the steps of other people that have come before you, that again have come from similar backgrounds, so that your mind don't go, oh well, they're just rich and they can do it. They're like you, and you can absolutely study the ways that they've done things and what are the advice and the tips that they can give you. And that can be reading through their blogs, that could be literally calling them up or asking to be introduced to someone like that. And that can absolutely change this belief system around someone like you who can't do the thing you want to do because someone else has proven you wrong, right? So that's one way of playing detective and giving yourself new evidence. And if you're someone that doesn't feel brave and think that you may not be successful on your own without having a corporate job, well, remember all the times that you have reached success. So you've managed to climb the corporate ladder and got promotions, and you've managed to fend for yourself, you've managed to buy that house, you've managed to live on the streets, right? There's all these things that you've actually done that have been very successful that you may have forgotten or just not remembered. And this is a good time for you to make a list of all these things that you've ever accomplished in your life that at one point you also knew nothing about, and now you do. So the same can happen for you again, in these future dreams that you currently have, and it just takes these baby steps to get there. And when you really make a list of things that have caused you success, think about the steps that you did to get there. There might be certain things about your mindset, maybe you ask for support, maybe there's a strategy behind something that you achieved that you can actually implement again in your current goals, for your life at this point. There's a lot of nuggets in your old story. And another way to really expedite your learning, when I always get this excuse from people, I've never done this before, so therefore it's going to take me forever. Yeah, you're right. We have to, learning new things is not easy for ourselves. It takes time, and a lot of times that's frustrating for us to do it on our own. So then my advice to you is stop doing it on your own, right? It's just like an Olympic athlete that wants to, win the gold medal in the Olympics. He's not going to train on his own, right? Or she's not going to train on his own. They're going to hire someone who has gotten the gold, right? They can teach them the mindset, the exercises, the preparation that's necessary for them to reach that gold, right? And so expedite your learning by finding a mentor, right? Someone who has similar values that you have, are doing the business or the work or have a lifestyle that you admire, that you can see yourself in their shoes and go, yeah, that feels good. I've always imagined my life like this also. Those are the people that you should hire, right, to coach you, to mentor you, so that they can help you expedite to that stage where you need to go without you trying to figure it out on your own. And they're also the people that are going to help you bypass the fear, right? They're going to call you out on things. They're going to challenge you. They're going to be your trainer in a way on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis to ensure that you're accountable and meet those goals that you've set out for yourself. So know that you don't have to do it alone. Your dreams are always worth pursuing, and they are, why you're alive and why you choose to be alive. So every hour, every minute of the day is really an opportunity for you to turn it all around. And that will depend on what you choose to fill your time and head doing. Right? So our head is like a little bit like a computer. What we feed it is what we see, what we believe. So try to tell yourself new stories, and instead of just only regurgitating, mantras or just positive thoughts, a lot of the times it can be supported by evidence, right? Real things that are happening for other people, for people that can show you that it is possible. And that will absolutely change your belief systems, and in time, change the way you feel about your fear. I hope that was really helpful for you. And if you're interested to do more work around preparing for your transition, preparing for all the necessary things on a practical level, on a mindset level, and on your professional level of switching your skill sets and making your passions work for you in a much more freedom-based career and lifestyle. I do have a program that you can find out with the link below this video. It's called Take the Leap. It's a 30-day bite-sized action program of 8 modules where it's going to help you really transition from being an employee to having the mindset and actions that are ready for you to take the leap and escape your cubicle in a way that's going to feel comfortable, in a way that's going to feel meaningful, and less scary than doing it on your own. And you can find out how to get to that program at the bottom of this video. Hope to see you soon for the next episode of Screw the Cubicle. And until then, to your freedom and to your courage.